Welcome to this .NET PDF library tutorial. In this video, I'll show how to implement the URI, GoTo, named, and launch action in PDF using the Syncfusion .NET PDF library. This video also covers what a PDF action is and its supported types. A PDF action is a feature in a PDF document that allows you to trigger specific behaviors or interactions when a user performs an action, like clicking a link, button, or annotation. These actions make PDFs more dynamic and interactive. The PDF action types supported by the Syncfusion PDF library are listed here. Let's see how to implement some of them. First, I'll open an existing ASP.NET Core application, where the Syncfusion PDF.NET Core package is already installed. To see how to get started with the Syncfusion PDF library, check out the video link in the card above, or the description below. Now, let me show you how to create a URI action in a PDF document by clicking this button. Look here, I'm going to add the URI action to this document. First, I open the index.cs HTML file, remove the existing code, and add a button to create a URI action. Next, I navigate to the home controller class to define the action method and import the required namespaces for this example. I define an action method with the return type, action result. In this, I create a file stream instance for retrieving the existing file stream with appropriate file options. I create a PDF loaded document instance and access the second page of the PDF document. Then, I define the list to hold the matched text bounds. I search for the text PDF succinctly on the second page and store its bounds using the findText method. I create a URI action using PDF URI action, where I pass the URL that opens when the user clicks a specific area in the PDF. Then, I create a clickable annotation using the matched text bounds and link it to the URI action. I add this annotation to the page using the add method, so when the user clicks on the word PDF succinctly, the defined web page opens. Lastly, I define a helper method, create file result to export the file. I create a memory stream, save the document, reset the stream position, close the document, and return it to the browser. Then, I invoke the method and pass the document instance and file name. I save and run the application. When I click the button, the PDF is downloaded. When I click the word PDF succinctly, it navigates to the corresponding URI. Next, I will show you how to add a GoTo action to this text. To begin with, I add a button and define an action method with the return type iActionResult. Inside this method, I reuse the code from the previous example with a few modifications. I update the page number and remove the URI annotation logic. I create a PDF destination that points to the fifth page of the document. Then, I create a PDF GoTo action that navigates to this destination. I also create a PDF action annotation, passing the matched item and the GoTo action, and adding it to the page using the add method. Finally, I update the output file name for download. When I click the button, the PDF is downloaded. When I click this, it navigates to the defined destination page. Let me show you how to add a named action to this PDF document. First, I add a button to create the named action and define an action method with the return type iActionResult. Inside this method, I reuse the code from the previous example with modifications. I update the page number and remove the GoTo annotation logic. I create a PDF named action that points to the last page of the document. and I create a PDF action annotation, passing the matched item and the named action, and adding it to the page using the add method. Then, I update the output file name for download. When I click the button, the PDF is downloaded. Clicking the word PDF succinctly navigates to the last page as defined. Finally, I will show you how to add a launch action to a PDF document. I add a button to trigger the launch action and define an action method with the return type iActionResult. Inside this method, I reuse the code from the previous example. I remove the previous annotation logic. I create a PDF launch action and pass the local file path. I create a PDF action annotation, passing the matched text bounds and the launch action, and add it to the page using the add method. Then, I update the output file name for download. Clicking the button downloads the PDF. When I click this, it launches the specified file from the local system. That's a wrap! In this video, I have shown you how to implement URI, GoTo, named, and launch action in PDF using the Syncfusion .NET PDF library. You can download this video's working example from the GitHub link in the description below. I have also shared a link where you can learn about obtaining a free license key to use our document SDK through our community license. If you found this video useful, please like it and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.